Hello friends, welcome back. We're gonna make one of those cards that is very simple to make. No dies, no stamps, no problem, because we're only gonna use paper, and this is what we're gonna need. For the sky, I'm using this light blue, and then I have 3 different shades of the blue for the ocean. The sand is this beige, and this is a little darker, but if you don't have another one that is a little darker, you can use the same one for the wood. A piece of white to make that little boat. Obviously we're gonna use some scissors, cut some pieces in here, and we need a pen, black pen, a brown marker, any type. And if you're gonna do the boat, I added that yellow type of orangey line in there. We're gonna use that in color. It's not necessary if you have it. And then I added under the boat a couple lines in here, and for those lines, I use a white gel pen. You can actually use paint or crayon, anything you have available. The other option will be to cut a little bit of white paper and put it in there. Also in the sky, I added some dry brush using acrylic, white acrylic. Again, not required, and I did the same for the little shells, seashells on the bottom. Okay? So it's gonna be really simple. I did this one as a full size. It's, by the way, you also need for the card base. You can use printer paper, cut it in half and then half again. If you have something a little more, a construction paper or something like that that is a little harder, then much better. And if you have a card base, then use your card base. I'm gonna use a card base, again, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's the measurement that you get when you take regular printer paper, cut it in half and then half again, double. So that's the size that you get. So that's gonna be my card base in here. My card, just because these pieces that I have in here are not exactly the full size, it's gonna be slightly smaller, but hey, it's gonna be the same design. You can make it larger, you can make it as big or as small as you want. So let's move these papers in here, and I'm gonna keep this one as an inspiration so you can see what I'm doing. And I have one piece of cardstock in here. The size of my card is gonna be like that size. So when I put it on top of my card base, it's gonna have a white border. And I'm gonna use it just so I can use it as a template for the size, so I can get all my pieces together in here. Now, the first thing that I'm gonna do in here is that I'm gonna add the sky. Let's start with the sky. Forgot to mention glue. Yes, you do need glue. Or tape. Like double face tape. And you can glue everything directly on your card, but since mine is gonna be like a, you know, it's gonna have that border around, I just wanna make sure that the other pieces that I have in the full size, when I cut them to the size that I need. So this is gonna be your base. This is the first part that you're gonna add in here. You add the sky, and then you add the sand. Now, for my other 3 pieces, and you pick the order that you want, whatever order works for you. And these are the same one that I just used for this one. When you cut the one on the top, make sure that that one is straight. That's what I'm going to use in here. And I'm using this color paper that it is white inside. So when I tear the paper, and I'm going to do it in here, I'm kind of waving in here. I'm going to have one border in white, and that's actually works like the foam in the sea, right? If you think this one is, yeah, I think it's a little too wide, you can cut a little bit on the top. Yeah, I'm gonna do that because I like the shape that I have on the bottom. And to do that, you can just do your mark in here, and then use your scissors. And if you have a cutter, a paper cutter, then use your paper cutter. I'm not using, I have it, but I'm not using it, so I can show you that you can do this without any other tools. So that's going to be that piece in there. That's the only one that is going to have a straight border. And then the other one, we don't need that much, as long as it can go inside a little. Yeah, so when you tear the paper, be aware that one side is going to be with the white part, the other one will not. Now I'm going to use this one in here. That was from cutting in here. And because it's going to be under, it's okay, it's not going to show. And they don't need to have the same shape or the same waving. So the next one, cutting again. And then you organize them. And I like to do it kind of on the, starting with the bottom one, so I know exactly how much I'm gonna leave in there. And I'm gonna start gluing in here. Now I know that this is gonna be too long. All right, so that area that I have in there is good for me. And I'm gonna add the next one. And later I'm gonna trim this border. This is a perfect card to make it with your kids or friends, or even if you're in school doing something, a project. That will be a really good card. Okay. The other thing is you might want to measure in here so you can have the same distance, or you know, like almost, because that's your horizon. And you can put a little mark on both ends, so you know that that part, that's where your horizon is going. All right. Okay. Put that in there, and I'm gonna trim this in here. Okay. Now let's work on the wood. And for the wood that I'm using this in here, here is my little trick. If you have a marker that is like a chisel, like this one, this is a thick one, make some lines in here. That might be a little too thick. All right, so I'm gonna make another one in here. I want to keep them in a like this thick in here. And I also did in this one some little marks, and I did that with my mechanic pen without oops. Let me just get another one. You can use a pen. Oh, you know what? This is also something that you can use. This is a toothpick or any little stick, and I'm just gonna do some marks in here, and not straight, nothing in here. Some completed, some are just random in there. It's hard to see it in here. I think you can see a little bit of the marking in there. So that's gonna be kind of the wood marks. And now I'm just gonna use one that is the long post in here. And then the others, they're gonna be for the message. So this one on the top, that's gonna be for my post, and I'm gonna cut in between, and I'm gonna go waving the same way, not straight at all. It's fine, but then I have half on the marks, the marker on one side and half on the other, so I don't have to do the borders in there. And here is okay. And I think I used a darker marker for this one, but that's fine. And before I cut this one, I'm gonna use my pen. You can use this micro pen, or you can use any black pen. And I'm gonna write the Happy Father's Day. I'm using my pencil in here to trace the words. Fathers. And if you do it a little funky, or it's fine, doesn't need to be perfect. Actually, it's gonna look a little better if you do it very irregular. Because it's supposed to be an all sign. I think I'm gonna need, like, very soon another pen, and to have some others just like this one. And also because I made those scratches on the card, now it's kind of hard to get in. Nice. So just to simplify everything, I'm gonna cut this once in here. And then I'm gonna trim a little bit whatever size you want them to be. And if you want to add a little extra ink on the borders, and we're going to put that piece together in there. I'm going to trim this diagonal. That's what I did in there. Just a little bit of an angle in the bottom. And a little bit of the glue in the center. And then put this ones like just different angles. All right. And we're gluing this in here. Gonna put it like that. And trimming this part. It's easier if I do it at the bottom. Okay. And we're gonna make that little boat. And to make that little boat, I have in here a white piece of paper. No, I do have a smaller one. All right. Because it's not gonna be that big. It's just something really, really small. And what I did, obviously I use I draw this semi-circle. And this is probably a little smaller, so. And then like 1/3 from the front, I added a little mark. And then I went almost like in an angle to the end. And then another angle, but it's just a little bit, like really, really not too much. And I use my pen again. And then we can erase all those marks. It's like a pastelillo. And I didn't hear my pig holes. And the flag, we'll do the flag directly on the water. And I'm gonna add my lines in here. And you can erase those lines. And I'm gonna paint in yellow that little line in there. And this is what I did after I cut my little boat. I trimmed the bottom to make it look like it was the wave. So that's not cut in there, the boat is cut. And for that, you can just draw from the back because you don't want that line to show. Then put it in there, right? Let me trim this a little better. And we're gonna glue this in here. Put it, give it like a little bit of an angle. And use that gel pen, white gel pen. If you don't have a gel pen, or if your gel pen is not working, like this one. Let's see, maybe I have another one. Yeah. If you don't have a gel pen, you can use acrylic, you can use paint, and then just put some lines in there, especially on the back. Put a little more. I also added some kind of gel white thing in here just to make it look like a little older. The other thing that you can do is with your pencil. Now my fingers are gonna get all I think we used to do this in school a lot, but you can just make and then get that on your fingers and then rub it in there, or you can just use slightly go over. This one they go this way, and then this one will go this way. Just to make it look aged a little bit. Let's do the clouds in there. I'm gonna drop a little bit of paint on this sticky note in here, just a little bit. And with a brush, a dry one, don't get it wet, just a dry one. Pick up a little bit of a paint and then just go straight. You can practice in here. And then just go straight a little bit. And that's gonna be, you know, just a little bit of white on the sky, not too much. If you want to add a little more, okay. And the last thing that I did was to do all these little shelves, and for the start, 5 little lines, and then you just draw around. We got this other shell, and for this one, 3 circles in there, and this is definitely not anything like correct or anything like that, and then just like that. And then you can put another one in here. And with the pen, go back And now, since I have those lines in here, I just have to go around. Starfish are really irregular, so alright. And I added a little bit of white just because they're in the sand, they're usually white. Next little ruffle type in here. And just a little bit of details in white. They're like natural colors or white. So that's all I want to just, and then you can add some sand in there, right? The last thing that I need to do is that little flag. I almost forgot the little flag. For the flag, it's going fast. You can add any color in there. Put some red in here. And that's it. We just have to glue this to the card. This is real time. I'm explaining everything, cutting everything live. It took me, what, 27 minutes? Yours is not gonna take that long. And you can make as many as you want. I hope you like it. I hope you get to chance to make some of this for Father's Day. Have a little fun with your kids making them for the neighbors, for the family. Enjoy it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.